The 38th Street Gang. A comprehensive chronicle of Los Angeles' oldest street gang. The 38th Street Gang, also known as Barrio Southside 38th Street or Tres Ocho, stands as one of the oldest and most notorious criminal organizations in Los Angeles. This predominantly Hispanic street gang has a complex history that spans nearly a century, reflecting the socio-economic and political changes in Southern California. Origins and early years. The gang's roots can be traced back to the 1920s, with some accounts placing its formation between 1920 and 1935. It emerged at the border between South Central Los Angeles and the city of Vernon, initially forming on 38th Street between Santa Fe Avenue and Alameda Street. This area, once a rancher farm community, was undergoing rapid industrialization, attracting Mexican migrants seeking employment opportunities. As Vernon transformed from farmland to an industrial center, hosting companies like Studebaker, Farmer John, and General Mills, the gang's central location shifted slightly west of Alameda into South Los Angeles. Interestingly, in this new area, the actual street 38th Street does not exist. The gang's formation was a response to the racial and economic adversities confronting the Mexican-American community. In an era marked by widespread discrimination, the gang provided a sense of camaraderie and protection to its members against external threats, including rival ethnic factions and law enforcement. The Sleepy Lagoon murder trial and Zoot Suit era. The 38th Street Gang gained widespread notoriety in the 1940s due to the Sleepy Lagoon murder trial. On August 2, 1942, Jose Gallardo Diaz was found dead on the side of a road, with injuries consistent with being hit by a car. The Los Angeles Police Department implicated several 38th Street members in the murder. Henry Levis, 20, and several other gang members were arrested and charged with murder. 9 members were initially convicted of second-degree murder. However, in 1944, the Court of Appeals reversed all convictions, citing racial paranoia, prejudice against Mexican immigrants, and an unfair trial conducted by the District Attorney's Office and Judge Charles W. Fricke. This period coincided with the Zoot Suit phenomenon, where flamboyant clothing became a symbol of defiance and identity among marginalized youths. The Zoot Suit riots of 1943 saw violent clashes between servicemen and Zoot Suit-clad civilians, further entrenching the 38th Street Gang in the public consciousness as symbols of youthful rebellion and societal disorder. During the Sleepy Lagoon trial, the media exaggerated headlines about the gang that wore Zoot Suits, creating wartime hysteria and prejudice against the Mexican-American community. Los Angeles police officers did nothing to halt the angry mobs from rioting, arresting the Zoot Suiters instead of the attackers. As a result, the United States Department of War banned all military personnel from going to Los Angeles on leave. Territory and influence. The 38th Street Gang holds a prominent and notorious presence on the east side of South Los Angeles, extending into parts of East Los Angeles. Their territory, spanning approximately 0.523 square miles, is notably larger than that of many other gangs. It stretches from Central Avenue in the west to Alameda in the east, and from Martin Luther King Boulevard in the south to 41st Street in the north. Additionally, their turf reaches northward to 24th Street, bounded by Compton Avenue in the west and Long Beach Avenue in the east. This extensive area has historically been recognized as one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the nation, with a significant stronghold at the Alameda swap meet on Alameda and Vernon Avenue, which has been under their influence for years. The gang's vast territory inevitably puts them in direct conflict with numerous other gangs, including Barrio Mojadas, Ghetto Boys, Playboy 13, Florencia 13, MS 13, and various blood sets. These rivalries extend beyond South Los Angeles, permeating most neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles County. Moreover, the 38th Street Gang's influence is not confined to Los Angeles alone. They have established confirmed cliques in other states, including Salt Lake City, West Valley City, Magna, and Kearns in Utah, as well as in Wisconsin and Chicago. This expansion reflects their widespread reach and the enduring strength of their network. In the late 1980s, the city of Los Angeles attempted to curb the gang's influence by implementing drastic measures, including the closure of several roads in the gang's vicinity. These closures were intended to deter non-residents from entering the area to purchase narcotics, thereby reducing the gang's control over the local drug trade. However, these efforts proved largely ineffective, as the 38th Street gang's power and reach remained undiminished. Despite these interventions, the gang continued to thrive, with its influence extending far beyond the borders of Los Angeles, underscoring the resilience and persistence of its operations. Mexican Mafia Connection. The 38th Street Gang has strong ties to the Mexican Mafia, a powerful prison gang. Henry Hank Leves, an original Mexican Mafia member from the early 1960s, was the first 38th Street member in the prison gang. He grew to become an influential representative during its first decade. Other 38th Street members, such as Raul Dopey Montes and Ramon Panchi Amato, also played significant roles in the early history of the Mexican Mafia. Structure and subgroups. The large geography of 38th Street has led to the formation of several subcliques over the years. Some of these include BPR, Chicos Bagos, CBS, CHBS, Chicos Locos, CLS, CDLS, Cut Downers, CDS, CAD, Dukes, DKS, Gatos Locos, GLS, Los Locos, LAS, a female clique, Morgan Bagos, MBS, Midgets, MGS, Night Owls, NLS, Pee-wees Locos, PWLS, Pee-wees, PWS, South Central Locos, SCLS, Tiny Diablas, TDS, Tiny Locotes, TLS, Tiny Winos, TWS, and many others. Criminal activities and law enforcement response. The 38th Street Gang has been involved in various criminal activities, including drug sales, murder, theft, and vandalism. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, their involvement in narcotic sales was so pervasive that the city of Los Angeles closed many roads in the 38th Street vicinity to deter non-residents from purchasing drugs in the area. Law enforcement has made numerous efforts to curb the gang's influence. 1. In the late 1990s, a federal task force was established to investigate the gang's involvement in the illegal drug trade, resulting in multiple arrests and the confiscation of drugs and money. 2. On August 24, 2004, a preliminary injunction was issued, prohibiting active members of the 38th Street Gang from using firearms, alcohol, graffiti, and other dangerous materials in public. 3. In February 2011, Los Angeles crackdown targets 38th Street Gang. Los Angeles, California. The Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, announced a major law enforcement operation today, involving nearly 800 officers targeting members and associates of the notorious 38th Street Gang. The operation led to the arrest of dozens of individuals, many of whom are named in a federal racketeering indictment accusing them of a wide range of violent crimes, large-scale drug trafficking, and extortion targeting both drug dealers and legitimate businesses. This morning's coordinated effort involved the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, DEA agents, and officers from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF. A total of 37 defendants were apprehended based on federal indictments, with an additional 20 individuals arrested on state weapons and narcotics charges. 14 of the federal defendants were already in custody, leaving 7 fugitives currently being pursued by authorities. During the operation, authorities seized approximately 7 kilograms of cocaine, 1 pound of methamphetamine, 23 firearms, and around $250,000 in cash. The 38th Street Gang, one of Southern California's oldest and most notorious criminal organizations, is the focus of a 130-page grand jury indictment that cites violations of the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, RICO, Act. The indictment charges 50 defendants with participating in a range of criminal activities on behalf of the gang, including murders, murder plots, attempted murders, drug trafficking, robberies, extortion, and witness intimidation. The indictment details 250 overt acts, many of which are violent crimes, including assaults on rival gang members and law enforcement officers. Defendants in this racketeering case face potential life sentences in federal prison if convicted. The 38th Street Gang has had a devastating impact on the communities of South Los Angeles, said DEA Special Agent in Charge Timothy J. Landrum. By collaborating with our law enforcement partners, this investigation has significantly reduced gang-related violence and removed more than $2 million worth of dangerous drugs from our streets. Today's arrests mark a significant step forward in our efforts to diminish the threat of gang violence in our neighborhoods. This case against the 38th Street Gang exemplifies the effective use of the federal RICO statute to bring organized street gang leaders to justice, said United States Attorney Andre Barat Jr. Federal resources have been instrumental in helping local law enforcement reach gang leaders who believed they were beyond the law. The investigation was conducted by the Los Angeles High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, HIDTA, Task Force, a federally funded group comprising federal and local law enforcement agencies, including the DEA, ATF, Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation, IRSCI, and the LAPD. Today's operation against the 38th Street Gang underscores the success of federal and local authorities working together to combat entrenched street gangs. As chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, I have remained committed to collaborating closely with our federal task force partners to address gang crime, said LAPD Chief Charlie Beck. We targeted 87 members and associates of a violent street gang that terrorized our community. I am very pleased with the results of today's operation and our ongoing partnership with the Southern California Drug Task Force HIDTA initiative in fighting gang and drug crime. My commitment to reducing gang crime and removing dangerous weapons from our streets remains steadfast. The racketeering indictment further alleges that the 38th Street Gang operates under the control of the Mexican Mafia prison gang, which imposes taxes on the gang and grants permission for certain criminal acts, including extortion and murder. Members of the 38th Street Gang allegedly extorted legitimate businesses, including vendors at the Alameda Swap Meet, to generate revenue, some of which was funneled to the Mexican Mafia. Additionally, gang members and associates are accused of distributing narcotics at the swap meet and taxing drug dealers who were permitted to sell there. The indictment also details numerous violent acts allegedly committed by members of the 38th Street Gang. Wiretapped phone calls reveal gang members boasting about attacking or shooting rival gang members. In one instance, a gang member allegedly directed a 14-year-old to shoot a rival as part of her initiation into the gang. In a particularly violent incident, gang members allegedly impersonated FBI agents and other law enforcement officers to forcefully enter a house in Southgate, where they tied up and kidnapped a man. During a subsequent high-speed chase, the victim was reportedly executed with a bullet to the head. The indictment further alleges that the 38th Street Gang is heavily involved in the distribution of methamphetamine, cocaine, and crack cocaine, with members reportedly possessing multi-pound quantities of these drugs. Throughout the investigation, authorities made several significant drug seizures, including one involving over 2 kilograms of methamphetamine, nearly 4 kilograms of cocaine, and more than $61,000 from a single stash house. The gang is accused of importing narcotics from Mexico and distributing them at the street level within their territory. To support their narcotics trafficking and enforce their territorial control, gang members and associates maintained a stockpile of firearms, including handguns, shotguns, assault rifles, and machine guns. Some of these weapons were stolen or had obliterated serial numbers, making them untraceable. ATF will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to eliminate violent crime and pursue those who supply weapons to gang members, said John A. Torres, Special Agent in Charge, ATF Los Angeles Field Division. We seized more than 80 firearms during this investigation, and ATF will leverage its expertise in firearms trafficking to identify not only the gang members who possessed these weapons but also those responsible for placing the public at risk by supplying firearms to these criminals. The federal racketeering indictment charges a total of 53 defendants, 14 of whom were already in custody. Additionally, a grand jury returned 5 single-defendant indictments on weapons and narcotics offenses. Gang crime and gang violence have a detrimental impact on the quality of life in our communities, said IRSCI Special Agent in Charge Leslie P. DeMarco. Today's operation against the 38th Street Gang demonstrates law enforcement's determination to investigate and prosecute those who use violence and intimidation to further their criminal enterprises. The IRSCI stands united with the broader law enforcement community in our commitment to disrupt criminal organizations that commit such heinous crimes financially. The defendants arrested on federal indictments will be arraigned this afternoon in United States District Court. In conjunction with today's operation, the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, through its Project TOUGH, Taking Out Urban Gang Headquarters, has filed enforcement actions against the owners of 4 gang-controlled properties in the Newton Division of Central Los Angeles. These actions are based on evidence of persistent criminal activities by 38th Street Gang members, including drug and firearms sales. City prosecutors will seek court orders mandating comprehensive physical and managerial improvements to these properties and, if necessary, their closure. They will also request strict measures, including banning gang members from the properties and seeking civil penalties of $25,000, attorney's fees, and law enforcement investigative costs against each defendant. In addition to the HIDTA Task Force, the United States Marshals Service, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles Intra-Agency Metropolitan Police Apprehension Crime Task Force, Glendale Police Department, and the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation participated in this morning's operation. Cultural impact and legacy of the 38th Street Gang. The story of the 38th Street Gang is more than just a chronicle of criminal activities. It is a profound reflection of the resilience and agency of marginalized communities confronting systemic challenges. The gang's evolution from a protective brotherhood into an organized crime syndicate mirrors the broader socio-economic and political shifts that have shaped Los Angeles and the nation over the decades. Their history encapsulates themes of racial bias, economic disparity, and the search for identity and respect in an ever-changing urban landscape. The story of the 38th Street Gang is inextricably tied to the experiences and transitions of the communities from which they emerged, making it a poignant example of the complex interplay between social conditions, cultural identity, and criminal behavior in urban America. Intervention and prevention efforts. In recent years, various intervention and prevention programs have been developed to address the root causes of gang affiliation and violence. These initiatives focus on providing at-risk youth with alternatives to gang life, emphasizing education, employment opportunities, and community support. While the challenge of eradicating gang violence remains significant, these efforts represent a shift towards addressing the systemic barriers that contribute to the formation and persistence of gangs like the 38th Street. Understanding the complex history of the 38th Street Gang is essential for tackling the challenges associated with gang violence and for fostering a more inclusive and equitable society. As society continues to grapple with these issues, the legacy of the 38th Street Gang, marked by both notoriety and a struggle for survival, remains a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of social and cultural dynamics on criminal behavior. In conclusion, the 38th Street Gang's legacy continues to influence discussions about gangs, crime, and community dynamics in America. Their story serves as a testament to the ongoing struggle to understand and address the root causes of gang violence while highlighting the importance of creating pathways for positive change in communities affected by such challenges.